In fall and winter, I love having butternut squash for dinner, even on weeknights, but I don't always have time to cut up and peel a whole butternut squash or even roast a whole one for an hour in the oven. So I take advantage of pre-cut, pre-peeled butternut squash. Trader Joe's carries it, I think Safeway does too. And I have what I like to call my almost instant butternut squash puree, which comes together really quickly, and you have a great side dish that's very seasonal and delicious, and I'll show you how to make it. I take advantage of the pre-peeled stuff. I know some people are against this idea. If you want to get your whole squash and peel it and cut it up yourself, that's great, but this is a quick alternative. Dump the cubes into a saucepan, and I like to cook them in apple juice. I like to make a sort of sweet puree with warm spices and almost like pumpkin pie, but not too sugary. So the way I do this is I'm using unfiltered apple juice, but you can use whatever apple juice you like, and I just cover the squash, or not even cover, but sort of almost cover the squash with apple juice, and just bring it up to a boil, and then reduce it to a simmer and let it cook until the squash is very tender. And that usually only takes about 20 minutes, and so while that's happening, you can prepare the rest of your meal, and then it's just a matter of seasoning it up and serving it at the end. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. My butternut squash has been on the stove for about 20 minutes, and it's fork tender. It actually just fell apart as I poked it with a fork, and ooh, a lot of the apple juice has reduced. There's still a little bit in there, but most of it's gone. So I'm going to take it off the heat, and I'm going to put it into a blender, because I want to make a squash puree. And the blender is the easiest way to do that. And you want to include any liquid that's in the pan. And because it doesn't look like there's much liquid left at all, I'm going to add a little bit more apple juice just to puree it. And when you put hot food into a blender, you want to make sure to remove the top so it can vent it and it doesn't explode on you and burn you. You do still want to cover the top, but use a towel or a hot pad to stop it. And then puree. Once you've got a nice, smooth, but thick puree, it's time to season it up. Just scoop the butternut squash puree into a bowl. You could probably even season it in the serving bowl if you'd like, but I'm just doing it in a mixing bowl. I want to scrape every last bit out that I can. Is the one problem with blenders, is that they're not friendly for that sort of thing. And as you can see, it's very smooth and very thick. And I'm going to season it up with some warm and sweet spices today, so I'm going to sweeten it slightly with about a tablespoon of maple syrup. We've already got apple juice in there, so the apple juice is adding some sweetness, and the maple syrup just makes it a little bit extra sweet. And then I've also got some ground ginger, some ground cloves, some cinnamon, some allspice, and some nutmeg that I'm going to put in. And I'm just doing a little bit of each. This is less than a quarter teaspoon of most of them, and you should just play with it and taste it and see what you like. And just stir everything into the puree. Oh, it smells so good. Add maybe like a pinch of salt. Just kind of helps all of that sweetness come through even better, surprisingly. And this will go great alongside roast pork. It'll go great alongside turkey. You can even thin it out and make it into a soup if you'd like. Add a little more apple juice, or add maybe some chicken stock and reheat it. And if you want to make it a little more savory and less sweet, I still recommend using a little bit of maple syrup, but you can also use smoked paprika, which is my personal favorite spice lately. You could use cayenne, even thyme. It all tastes really great with the squash, and you can just sort of do whatever you'd like with it. And it's very versatile, and it's a healthy way to get your veggies.